Yeah, so I mean, we all knew that there was going to be a bit of a dump from the private sailors. I mean, that always happens, but I think it was honestly less than I expected. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the sentiment is great in the private sale group. Everyone wants to hold and stake their tokens. Um, so yeah, pretty natural price action. We're already starting to eat it, and we didn't even do any buybacks or anything. We didn't have to yet. I think that really the plan is, well, we're going to tell you guys a lot of stuff on this call, but really the plan is to get going later today and tomorrow with some of the announcements and showing you guys what's lined up, because just want to kind of make sure everyone gets out who's not here for the long term, because why should they benefit from the new news? It's kind of what we're thinking there. Also, a big thing that we fixed. So if you looked at our LP before, it was way too high in relation to the market cap. It was way more LP than we would have needed. So we actually fixed it. We're still going to do a bit more, but we pulled out about 20% of that LP, which we have, and we're going to use that very strategically for buybacks over the next week or two, and that's going to give us the proper moon effect. Like on Dextools, it was showing the LP was about half of the market cap, and anyone who's experienced and knows how these tokens work, that's just way too high. If you bring in big buys, you're not going to see the moon effect, but we already started fixing that, so that's really bullish for this.
Right. Yeah, I see a lot of people asking in the chat about that. So just let them here. Let's do a slash join voice. Yeah. So that was pulled because we're seeing buys coming in, but we're not. Yeah, we're not really going up very much. So removing that LP allows the price impact to be higher on those buys. So we strategically moved it right at this low so that we can kind of have high price impact off these buys when people are buying the bottom. And like Drew said, we're going to be using that for buybacks pretty strategically over the course of the next couple of days. We have some pretty big events coming up that we're going to tease later in this call. And we think having a lower LP in relation to market cap ratio is gonna really help us over these next few days.
I was just agreeing, like it's definitely the right move because we still have a very healthy LP pool, and it's not like we're taking that money out and putting it in our pockets or blowing it or anything. It's going to be, I mean, everyone's seen what we delivered already, and we're just armed with a proper budget to do. We have enough for buybacks. We have enough to bring in the right names, deliver all the utility, do the proper marketing. So it's really, really good.
Yeah. So, and then, yeah, just to cap off the discussion about this morning. So, yeah, I think it went pretty well. We've talked about this multiple times leading up to this day that the private sailors were going to get their tokens today. We were expecting a little bit of a dip. We had internal kind of estimates of how big that dip would be that we were going back and forth about. And, we're really happy with what ended up happening and how we're rebounding off the bottom here. So I think we're doing pretty well with the numbers that we have internally of like what we're expecting over the next couple of weeks, and with what we experienced today, I think we're in a really, really good place in terms, and like Drew said, in the private sale group, there's people are pretty bullish. And most of them are holding their tokens, especially with the the reveal of our loyalty program. A lot of people are interested in getting involved in that. So that kind of segues me nicely into the next topic, which is just talking about the loyalty program, because we haven't had an AMA since that was revealed. So if you look in the chat, and if you ever want to read more about this or need a reminder, type /loyalty. And you'll actually get the PDF that we've done that details the loyalty program for you. So if everyone wants to have a look at that, I just put it in the chat. It's the Dream Loyalty Program.pdf. We're going to go through that together now, since this is our first AMA since it was revealed. Yeah, so the whole point behind the loyalty badge program is rewarding those who hold, right? And there's 4 different ways that we're going to do that. If you go to slide number 2, so I think the main one and the one that most people will be most interested in is the private sale and whitelist allocations. So as we've gone over multiple times, Dream is an ecosystem and it's a launch pad. So people are going to be able to get involved in the private sales for all of those. We have our BSC bridge coming up, being able to get ground floor on that. We have, our time zone collection, doing different ones that are accessible through different time zones. And we've also, the response from other developers who want to work with the Dream ecosystem has been overwhelming. We've actually had to create, a whole workflow for managing all the people who want to launch on the Dream ecosystem and all the ideas that we have coming in. We've had people who have, similar ideas about, helping mental health in this space, who have a lot of token ideas. And we're having to kind of create a whole checklist and workflow for managing all these ideas coming in, because we simply don't have the bandwidth to launch with everyone who wants to launch with us. But what does this mean for the Dream community and the holders, right? It means that you guys are going to have a lot of assets coming your way under the Dream umbrella that are going to be leveraging our network. We're going to be very selective with who we let come on the network. Again, this isn't an open source. Anyone can launch with us. They're going to be heavily vetted. They're going to be KYC'd to us. Their ideas are going to be vetted. And then we're going to bring those ideas to you. And, the people who have a loyalty badge are going to receive, they're going to be able to contribute to a whitelist and private sale for those launches. So that's number one. Number two is our profit sharing or our dividends, right? And any of you who have invested in the stock market before or traditional equities, you probably understand this. Companies that do well over the long term, larger companies, Apple, for example, they pay dividends to their holders. So what that means is, based on the amount of profit that they get over a quarter, they will then pay a share of that back to their investors. So we're going to do something similar, but we're going to do it with our loyalty holders, so the people who are holding over the long term. So this includes calculating profit and revenue off of everyone who launches on the Dream ecosystem, as well as the Dream token itself. So we're going to do a calculation. All of this will be done publicly, and we'll kind of share quarterly earnings with you guys, and then we'll share that directly with our loyal holders. One thing to think about when you're thinking about the loyalty badge program and the Dream token more generally is, we want people to look at the Dream token as though, yes, it's an asset within and of itself, and you're going to make money with the Dream token. It's going to rise in value over time as the platform grows. But we want people to buy and hold their Dream token and not be like really trying to skim too many profits off of it, because the token itself is your ticket into other profit-making, projects and dividends, etc. So think of the more of it that you buy and the more of it that you hold, the more benefits you're going to get out of it. So as an investor myself, I look at that and say, okay, if I buy X number of Dream, and I'm holding it, then I'm going to make back, multiple my initial investment plus more, as long as I hold this. So we're looking to provide incentives to people to keep the price floor high, right, to fund the ecosystem. And then we'll provide those rewards back to you through a variety of different methods here. Two of which we've already gone over. The other one is the Dream events. So, we've talked about extensively the Dream Foundation, which is our official charity that's already been registered in the United States, which is a huge step for us. Like Drew's already said multiple times, like, not many tokens or projects have an official charity. They'll talk about charity donations, they'll call themselves a charity token, but to actually go get a legal team and go through the process of registering a charity in the United States is a whole process within and of itself, and it's one that we've already done ahead of time. So these Dream events are going to be, they're going to be held through that charity. Now, obviously, with the pandemic right now and with COVID, some of the events that we'd like to hold physically are kind of up in the air. We're in conversations with some celebrities and some musicians to actually hold some concerts for Dream. But they're kind of pending discussions of, like, we could do them online as a live stream. We could do them in person, but there's only particular places where we'd be able to do them. So these in-person events will likely happen, once they're able to, once COVID, restrictions come down quite substantially. If not, then we'll get something out in terms of a live stream event. But once we can get our events in person and our charity foundation events, the loyalty holders will be granted like special VIP access badges to these events once we can, finally all get out and get in person together. The other one is the Dream DAO Treasury Rewards. So we haven't spoken too much about the DAO because we don't want to overload everyone with information. And the DAO is something like later on in the map. But those of you who have participated in DAOs before know that they have a treasury. That treasury often buys up different assets, whether that's NFTs, different blockchain assets, etc. And it shares the profit of that with their holders. And we'll do giveaways for NFTs that we buy and we're holding in the Dream DAO. We'll then give give those back to our community, because with a DAO, you're all owners in that project, and the owners that will share ownership of the DAO with will be our loyalty holders. So again, internally in the team, we're taking this idea very seriously. We want Dream to be a ticket for people into all of these different rewards, and we're really serious about making sure people are rewarded with these things over time. We put a lot of thought into how this is going to work, and all the features we know for sure we'll be able to deliver to people, and this is kind of what we've come down to. Now, I'm not going to go over all the next 3 slides. We've written what is it, how does it work, and when does it start. You guys can go over that yourselves, or we can have a little AMA here if you can ask any questions you want about it. But feel free to go over that on your own time, and to kind of figure out more of the specifics of how it's going to work. One of the main things I'll go over is that the Dream DApp, the UI designers already made a ton of progress on that. We're way ahead of schedule on the DApp. Which we'll be rolling out, previews of for you guys pretty shortly. But basically, we're going to integrate a system within the application that will look at your wallet, and it will see, it will do a quantitative analysis of how much Dream you own, and it'll do a qualitative analysis of how much you've sold, how much you've bought, the frequency of those sales, etc. And you'll be rewarded a loyalty tier or a loyalty score based on those.
The DApp looks incredible. We're going to share all the mock-ups and plans for it really soon when the time's right. Got to thank City Vicious. He's really been killing it on that. He's kind of taking a lot of the lead on the structure of it and actually mocking it up. I mean, this guy's like a rock star designer too, which is insane.
Yeah.
So this DApp is like, I've seen all of them, the one that Crown uses and a lot of the other like OHM forks and the staking and stuff. This is just way better. It's a clear step above, and also the focus is to make it easy for people. Dream, our whole thing is stress-free, and there's a lot of we really want big eyeballs on this project, and there's a lot of people who don't do this stuff and they don't understand the full staking and the APY and everything. So we really want to make it simple for them and just keep it like them to be staking without even really realize what they're doing. Just kind of structure it as like you lock your tokens up to earn more and get rewards.
Yeah, and I don't want to take, thanks for the compliment, Drew. I don't want to take all the credit for the DApp. I have some amazing people that I'm working with that are definitely, definitely carrying a lot of the load as well. But for sure, the DApp's looking incredible. I'm so tempted. I have a screenshot of it on my desktop right now, and I'm super tempted to throw in the chat. But we kind of talked about it before this meeting. We were thinking of revealing it, but we want to reveal it strategically when the time is right. And maybe we'll do like a little teaser or something, but yeah,
that'll probably be in a couple days too. Like I feel strongly that today we still have a bit up in the air with the price action of the private sailors. I mean, there might be a few in there who are sleeping and they come it's a long-term thing, so we really don't want to be throwing everything out and releasing stuff way too quickly. But definitely it was in the plans to let some of the private sailors dump and then start to really ramp it up and release this stuff.
All right. Yeah, so I can't, I'm not going to reveal the screenshot of the DApp, but I can talk to you about some of the basic functionality. So when the DApp is going to be called the Dream Portal. And this portal, when you're accessing the Dream Portal, it'll be able to, you'll access the whole variety of different things under the Dream ecosystem, right? Because this isn't a typical DApp. There's so many branches of the Dream ecosystem that, the reason we're calling it the Dream Portal is because it's gonna get you to anything you want to do with Dream. So, on the left-hand side, you have all the functionalities. You have the dashboard, you have your staking or your farming area, the play to earn game is embedded in there. You have the launch pad. You'll be able to access all of our launches and all of your contributions to each. We have something called the Dream Art House, which we haven't talked about, so much yet, but that's going to be incorporated in there. We have a community section for forums and discussions, and then we have a blog where we'll be sharing, medium style posts. And we have a dashboard that all of this is run through, where you'll be able to see news articles about Dream, any celebrity posts, and it's you're going to see price tickers and everything. We're really kind of incorporating design fundamentals from the stock market. So, running tickers and things that are similar to there, so we can make it a familiar feel for people. And something that's really important to the team is that this feels very, very sleek and professional. Like sometimes as an investor, I've visited dapps for certain projects I've been involved in, and sometimes a lot of crypto and blockchain dapps can look pretty shit in comparison to other, major websites or major applications from big companies. And we want to make sure that this looks like a super reputable company, because like we've said multiple times, we're trying to attract a different caliber of investor. And when they see the application that they're using and the quality of the UI and the design, that goes a huge way in instilling confidence in larger investors that they're putting their money in the right place. So yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to say about the DApp and the loyalty program, which is what I mainly wanted to go over with you guys.
I'll quickly I can reveal more about the art house. I mean, this is a pretty small thing, but it kind of fits with what we're doing and the mission and the foundation, and it also benefits the holders and it's great exposure. There's a lot of NFT whales who basically just have unlimited ETH. Like these guys who are the CryptoPunk OGs and the Bored Ape OGs. Like these guys are loaded. And when they find a token that they like they just put in 50 ETH, no problem. And I've seen it on a bunch of them, like the Looks and some of the bigger tokens. So the idea with the art house is to partner with well-known NFT artists, and we already have the first one in progress, and that's I already revealed that's Frankie Nines, who's the founder of Subducks, which is one of the top NFT projects. So what we do is, well, I know a lot of these guys too, so they're happy to do it, and it supports a good cause. But basically, he's going to do a one-on-one NFT for us. It'll go up. The auction will go up on our portal, or a link to the auction, and it'll be pretty in high demand. Like I personally would pay like 5-10 ETH for a Frankie Nines one, and I think people would pay more than that just because I want it in my collection. But the way it works is we auction it off for charity, and a portion goes back to the artist, a portion to charity, and then a portion of the dream holders. So if we can really scale that up, and I mean Frankie Nines is a pretty big name, so just with him as a starting point, and we've connections to Beeple and some other massive guys. So if we can build that up and get a few big sales, like it's just benefits all around and a lot more exposure too. That's a small part of the plan, but it's definitely a cool initiative.
Yep, 100%. I think the art house is going to be really cool as that builds out over time. So yeah, that's kind of the first time we've talked about the DApp extensively, as well as the loyalty program, with giving you guys some actual material to look at. So I guess for this portion, we can just I just want to open up the floor a little bit to those of you who have some specific questions regarding either the DApp or the loyalty.
I just want to talk about the plan for the spaces tomorrow. So
Sure,
with what we've seen, so let's look at like what we've done with Mike Tyson so far, and we still have more from him. He's a full brand ambassador, but I think Tyson was great at the beginning because it established credibility. Obviously, us being able to land someone like that, actually delivering it, multiple posts, him announcing that he loves what we're doing. That was great. It brought in a bunch of buys on the first day, gave us great credibility. But from everything I've seen, I mean, when celebrities just do a tweet, it can come off as very paid, and people are starting to see through that. And that's why I think, like on Tyson's Instagram story with the swipe up and stuff, like we definitely got some more eyeballs, but it didn't have a huge effect. So, I mean, we're very conscious of kind of what's working and what's not, and we're always adjusting on the fly. So, what I personally think is some of the best marketing we can do is the Twitter space. Like when we ran that and we had Charles Hoskinson, like when we got his attention and David Goxin was on there, we had a ton of eyeballs and we saw a lot of buys come in. So over the weekend, we made it our goal to land somebody massive to join us on our next space, which is going to be tomorrow at noon. I'm actually going to schedule it on my phone after this and post the link so everybody is prepared for it. But we got a fucking massive name, somebody who's huge in mental health, a huge celebrity, very relevant right now. And I'm pretty surprised that we were actually able to land him. But basically, he's going to be coming on the spaces. It's going to attract a ton of eyeballs. It's going to be under the Dream account. He's going to come on, tell his story, talk about Dream, and then also he's going to be doing like a nice Twitter post after saying that he supports us, he loves what we're doing, and he's excited to be involved and to have learned about it. We don't want to leak exactly who it is because I think the surprise factor is good, but it's a massive name, and we're gonna do this like.
Guy who said, "Is it Jordan Peterson?" That would be great. I also love Jordan, but no, it's not Jordan Peterson. Can confirm. I think we'd confuse the fuck out of Jordan with the Dream DApp and the ecosystem and all that stuff. Um, but it is a massive celebrity, someone with much more reach than Jordan Peterson. It's definitely like it's someone really big. We're not going to say who it is, but just make sure you're there tomorrow at noon EST because it's going to be huge. And the way Twitter Spaces work is the more people show up and the higher numbers that are involved in the space, the more viral it goes. So the idea is you get a couple celebrities in there, though the space is blasted out to all their followers, and then it's kind of a massive effect from there. So the idea is to get huge exposure tomorrow during this Twitter space as a result of the celebrities being involved. So make sure you're there. It's going to be really cool. It's definitely a pinch me moment for me because this celebrity, I followed his career in his respective space for my entire life, basically. So to be able to sit down with him and like talk about his struggles with mental health, et cetera, is going to be incredible. And I think you guys will be really proud of what the Dream ecosystem accomplished.
Yeah, we also have other surprises. Like I've mentioned Bruce, who's one of our advisors, and he's the CEO of a $1 billion coin called Shift, and he's going to be joining too. He's bringing some friends, so it's going to be like a really astute conversation with some really big names, all talking about Dream, shining a light on mental health and crypto. I think it's going to be great, and also like instead of doing the buybacks now with some of the LP that we pulled, I think that's like a prime time to throw in a few buys there just to boost it, show people like how effective this is, and I think that'll parlay with all the eyeballs, and that's more along the lines of the plan we're thinking. But I don't think anyone, I think everyone, it's like a holy shit, how did you get this guy? Someone said Michael Phelps in the chat. I'd say he's much more relevant than Michael Phelps, probably around like a similar level of just everyone knows him right now to Phelps, but Phelps isn't relevant right now. This guy's extremely relevant.
Cool. So why don't we open the floor to some questions? So let's keep the questions mostly relevant to the loyalty program, because I'm sure you guys have some questions about that, and then the Dream DApp as well. So who's ever got the first question, the floor is open and feel free to fire it off.
In the meantime, I'm going to get a tweet out right now just saying that we're on VC and the recording will be posted so that people can see that and just more reach. And so I'm going to post that, and everyone, let's comment on that, share it, get some more eyeballs.
So someone just said, wish we could get Joe Rogan to cover Dream, LOL. That would be great. It's not Joe Rogan tomorrow, but I will give you a hint. It's someone that's been on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's had a really extensive viral conversation with Joe Rogan. So there's your hint.
Hey guys, I wonder if I could ask a question.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Yeah, I saw a lot of questions in the chat about this, so I figured it'd probably be good to clear it up for some people regarding whether or not there's going to be defined specifics on the loyalty program in terms of buys and sells. I personally don't care, but I think people are going to keep asking it. So maybe clarifying. I know people will probably try and game it. If you do, that's just how crypto is, but I'm wondering if that's been a conversation at all. Like, for example, you sell 15% of tokens over a week or a month or whatever.
Yeah, 100%. This is a huge conversation we've beaten to death multiple times. And to be totally transparent with you, we haven't come to an exact solution of whether or not we're going to release all the specifics. And I'll tell you why. Like, there's cost benefits to each. You hit the nail on the head saying that if we reveal the exact way it's working in terms of how many tokens to hold, et cetera, how much you can't sell, people will try to game the system. If we don't release it at all, people might feel that it's so vague that they don't know how to participate, and then it might cause less people to participate. So we're very aware of the negatives of both sides. What we want to try to do, ideally, I will say, we do release it to you, right? I would love to be able to tell you guys, because my goal here is to make sure that as many people hold the token as possible, as many people can join the loyalty program as possible, so we can reward as many of you as possible, right? So to get the maximum amount of people. So having the specifics out there is really helpful to us because it helps us get as many of you in there as we can. So if we can find a way to make we're currently working with someone who's designing the actual algorithm that's going to scan the wallets, right? That's going to use that's going to use a program to scan the wallets to then, to do this analysis, right? What we do is going to be very dependent on the variables that he draws up and what he comes back to us with in terms of how rock solid it is. Now, if we feel that like we can fully release all information about this without people being able to game it, 100% we'll do it. If we feel that like, oh, if we release this, there's going to be this way or this way that someone might be able to game it, then unfortunately we can't. But I will say that we'll give as much information as we possibly can to you, right? Because like I said, our goal here isn't to game you out of it or make it vague. I want it as little like as the minimum vagueness possible, right? I want everyone to be able to get involved. 100% once we get, more details, once that algorithm is in place and it's about to be incorporated into the DApp, I will give you as much info as I possibly can, which might be everything, right? I might be able to give you everything. Unfortunately, I can't say with confidence right now that I'll be able to do that. It's a great question, and that's one of the main questions on the team's mind and something we're talking about constantly. So I'll keep you updated on that. Keep holding me to task on that in all the AMAs. Keep asking me about it. And, as soon as I have more information to give you, 100%, I will.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yep, no problem.
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you. It's making such a great progress. Question about the LP. Has it been relocked, and how long for? Because when you look at token snipper, it shows that it's expired, and that may work against us for new investors trying to mine us.
Good question. I'll handle this one. So I still want to pull a little bit more over the next 24 hours. We will relock it, of course. I like to, especially at the beginning for a project like this, I like to do a bit shorter locks, like a couple days at a time, just in case we need to make changes on the fly. It's just the right move. I mean, it's a fully docs team. Everything's transparent. You see what's being delivered. So I don't think it's much of a concern to see like a 2-year LP lock right away, because you kind of know we're not going anywhere. But yeah, definitely we don't want any red flags coming up when people look up the token. So it'll be relocked today for at least a few days, just to get rid of that warning, and then we'll reevaluate and see how our LP to market cap ratio is looking. But good point for sure.
Great. Thanks, man.
Let's stay off the video, guys. No need to turn your cameras on. That's okay. Cool. If anyone else has a question, feel free to fire it off.
So I was wondering, so I've only been purchasing and DCAing into Dream, and I know that today is the day that starts the loyalty program, and I wanted to know I don't know if this was something that you guys went over before, but I apologize if it is, but I wanted to know, like, are we allowed to like take some sort of profits or something to be part of that loyalty program, or we must be holding like, without selling the whole time?
Yeah, ideally we want to be able to create like so much value for you that you wouldn't really need to sell. Now, we want to make sure that, I understand people want to be able to take profits, and that's totally fine. So we are going to account for that in some sense. I understand it's frustrating me not be able to give you the specifics now. As soon as I can release the specifics, I will. But ideally what we're going to do is, what we're talking about is doing, cool down between sells up to a certain percentage of your total bag, which is likely the direction we're going, right? So that'll do a check, like, has this person sold in the past, in the past 30 days or so? The time period isn't locked down yet. And how much of their total bag have they sold? So yeah, if you bought, 10,000 tokens and you sold 5,000, and you've sold 50% of your bag, you're likely not going to qualify for the loyalty program. Now, if you sold, let's say, hypothetically below like 20% of your bag or 10% of your bag, you'll likely be fine. That being said, if you want to be absolutely 100% safe, just hold your tokens for now, because we don't have these specifics to release to you, and we're still working with the developer to draw up this algorithm.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm really I'm not planning to sell anytime soon. I just kind of wanted to know like how that would work, because I'm actually really looking forward to the staking, as well as the other rewards and opportunities that are going to come with holding the token.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what we're trying to do here is we're trying to create so much value within the whole ecosystem that, people would be able to make all their money from all the other things without having to sell their equity in the project, and they would be able to keep their share in the project. But I do understand, as an investor as well, like I want to be able to at least take some profit. If I'm up 10x or something on my investment, we do feel it's reasonable for someone to take, 10% of their profit or whatever. That's totally normal in this space. And we don't want to sit up here and like appear like we're draconian and we're like, you absolutely can't sell anything. We want to, but we also want to make sure that we're incentivizing people to hold, and we're kind of creating the value there so that they would want to do that in the first place. But yeah, that's a great question, and as I said, I'll continue to learn more about that over the coming years.
That's not sustainable. Like we want to build an amazing project that you get the right rewards and you want to hold your token. So we never want to be saying like you have to be 100% locked in. That's just it's not a healthy project. So and taking profits is part of crypto. If you never like I agree with what City said. But that's why we haven't rushed on releasing anything and we haven't given out like any sure numbers, because we need to make sure that it all makes sense and it's sustainable.
All right, thank you guys.
Yep, for sure. And then something else I'll say is like we want to make sure that the people, because there have been people who have like sold massive bags, right? And have and we want to make sure that we're creating a system in which those people don't get the rewards that the holders, because the people who are holding the token and have held since day one, they've gone all the way up, and then people have sold their bags while they're patiently holding and believing in the project. And we want to make sure that those people who sold all, their bags, and weren't, super loyal members, that they're not getting the same rewards that you guys are, right? So we want to make sure that the people who are holding are rewarded more than the people who have, dumped their bags because, either they didn't read the white paper, they haven't been in the AMAs, and they're just here to trade, right? Like I said it in one of our earlier calls, like there's two types of people in this space. There's traders and investors, right? And like we want to reward those who are investing in the long term, and those who are trading, like great, go for it. We're going to get taxes to fund the coin, and we'll and the ecosystem, and then we'll continue to use those. But we want to make sure that they're not getting rewarded from the long-term proposition of the value of the ecosystem. That has to go to the people who are really holding and investing. But yeah, that's hopefully that answers your question.
That's awesome. That really makes sense. That's much of a better way to do it, because exactly the people who are holding for a while, since the beginning, if they're getting something for that, recognition in a reward sense, that's great.
For sure. And we want to make sure like so that reward, sort of your loyalty badge, we're making sure that that's something that's publicly visible, right? So you're acknowledged, like, and when you're talking in the chats, so our Discord should be coming out fairly shortly. It's actually already built. We're just thinking about how to release it, and we want to have a couple things coinciding with that release. But you will have a badge in the Discord when you're talking and when you're participating in AMAs and everything, that actually shows that you're a loyalty member. So we want people to be able to, that's something they can wear with pride, right? That as the Dream ecosystem continues to develop over the long term, like those with a loyalty badge are going to be highly regarded in the community, as you should be. So that's going to be visible in the DApp, right? We have a specific place that we've built in for to show your loyalty score, to show the badge. And then we want to make that publicly visible in the Discord as well, when you're chatting with everyone. So that's something we're actively building too.
That's wonderful, man. I've been looking forward to the Discord. I'm big on Discord, so it sounds great.
Yeah, for sure. We are too, and that'll be rolled out pretty soon. It's going to give us access to, a whole, a lot of ETH communities are solely based in Discord, especially when we're, collaborating with NFT people. So we definitely, we'll have a presence there very shortly, before the end of the month.
Great. I have a quick question for you. This is AE, by the way. So is there a minimum for instance, let's say I have, like whatever bag I have, is there a minimum for me to be in the super batch? For instance, I didn't sell any of my positions. I have a decent bag, I'd say, but like for pre-sales and stuff coming up in the future, will there be like a minimum that an investor should hold in order to qualify for those pre-sales and stuff like that?
So the short answer is yes. The longer answer is that we don't want people who aren't like super rich and don't have a massive wallet to be excluded from this system. We don't feel that that's fair. So likely, yes, there will be some sort of minimum limit, and then above that limit, your rewards will be based on how much you hold, in some sense. So that's kind of the short answer. But again, these things are still evolving with regards to how that algorithm's actually going to work. We just don't want people to buy, if we don't set a limit, then people could just buy in with multiple wallets at a minimum amount, and then they could try to, take more than they deserve, and they would try to game the system in some sense. So I do feel we need some sort of minimum. That being said, we don't want people who are loyal holders to be discounted just because they don't have a bag of like 10 ETH or whatever it is. So likely what we'll be doing. I've seen a couple like people pointing out exceptions to the rule. For example, someone in the chat the other day was saying that, they actually bought in with a wallet, like they didn't use an alt wallet, they used their main wallet, and like they just based on principle, they don't connect their wallets to any applications. And that's the way that they trade and they invest, and that, that's perfectly fair. But it's someone who's held since day one and bought a good sized bag, and he's saying, what about me? I will be a loyal holder. So in cases like that, we're going to open up, and this isn't, we're going to open up some sort of form, or we'll be able to talk to people on one-on-one. So for example, if the system isn't, like a situation like you said, like maybe you didn't hit the minimum amount, but we can go into your wallet and we saw like maybe you don't make that much money, but what you do make and what you can afford, you have been putting in, and we can see that you haven't sold it. Then, and if we recognize your username, we see you've been contributing to the chats, we can make exceptions behind this, to make sure that those who are loyal holders, who maybe, don't have a massive bag that hit the minimum amount, that they're acknowledged as well. So just rest assured that, everything we can do, we will do. It's not an easy system to figure out, and it's going to take multiple iterations. And we're also open to hearing your feedback and what you guys think about it. And we'll evolve it over time, so we make sure that, we're hitting the goal here, which is to reward all the investors. If you're investing over the long, you should be in the program, and we'll do everything we can to make sure that you are included.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, it's a group of people. You're not dealing with some big corporation where we're all very reasonable. We want to all win together. We want to reward our early supporters and people who are active, and we want to help people. It's not the type of thing where we're trying to like gouge people and screw them over. So, if there is a misunderstanding, or you feel like you if you don't qualify, but you feel like you should, we'll always hear you out, and we're very fair.
Yeah, we'll have a member of the team, or I can even help out myself, like be dedicated to, we'll have a form. You can type there with your message, and then we'll get back to you. We'll look into your wallet if you feel like you were excluded unfairly. And, we've got some really smart guys on the team. They'll be able to go through the blockchain records and figure out, is this person or is this person not a loyal holder? And we'll make sure that, if you do deserve that badge, that you'll be awarded. That's as simple as that.
Yep. Sounds perfect, guys. Looking forward for more to come from Dream. So I hold them from day one, and I have not sold a single token. So.
Well, then you should be more than good, my friend. We appreciate you very much.
Sounds good. No problem. I know Drew from other stuff, so that's why I'm here. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hey, Sid. Hey, Drew. Hey, it's Eldon. Hey. I came in a little bit late. Did you guys discuss staking at all, or the plan for staking?
Yeah, we've discussed it a little bit. So the staking is going to be the first thing to come on the DApp. So as we talked about earlier in the call, the DApp, the initial designs of the DApp are done. We're tweaking, we're adding, and we're augmenting, but the initial design is there, and the staking is going to be the first to come. We haven't released exact numbers. I don't know, Drew, if you can speak to this at all. The staking contract is being built out right now. I think it's pretty much done, but Drew, I don't know if we're not sure which way we're going at in terms of if it's going to be a variable APY in terms of, it'll go up or down depending on how many people are involved, or if it'll be static. But we'll release those details when they're official. But maybe, Drew, I know you've been working with the guy writing the staking contract, so if you have anything to share, feel free.
Yeah, what I can say is we want to make it very simple, kind of like staking for dummies. because there's a lot of people who get overwhelmed and find it complicated on the other ones. I mean, even me personally, when I look at like Midas's staking, when I do everything, I hop on the phone with my dev and make sure I'm doing everything properly. But we want the average investor, because this is like Dream is kind of like Shiba Inu with utility and a purpose. So we want maybe people who aren't as astute to be able to do it. So, I mean, very simply, kind of what we envision is to have a few different options. You could stake your tokens for 30 days. You could do it for 90 days, maybe a shorter option too. And you'll see very clearly exactly how many rewards you're going to earn for doing it. And it'll be very simple. And you'll see when we release the mock-ups for the DApp, how good it looks and how everything fits together. So just stay tuned for that for a couple days, and then you'll see it. It doesn't make sense to release it today, even though it's ready. We kind of have a strategy to all this.
I had to mute L-Dog because he had a lot of feedback there, but I unmuted him. He should be back in a second. Also, something to note, we are starting to upload these AMAs to YouTube. So the first one is we have a composer, actually, the same guy who did all the music for the game. You know, you guys really dug those songs that he did. He's super talented. He's also doing like an opening and a closing jingle for the AMAs, and we're gonna have it like a podcast. So, you know, there'll be like an opening jingle, you know, we go into the cast and then it ends, and it's really properly produced. And it's not just like pasted up there willy-nilly. This is a guy I've worked with for a long time, and he's actually gone in and he's done a bunch of sound treating on it. You know, he's taken a lot of buzz out of it. He's fixed a lot of the noise coming through, and he's done a lot of audio treatment on it to make it sound professional as much as we can without using, you know, really, really crazy mic setups like professional podcasters use. But he's going to clean that up, and we're going to make it sound nice and clean. So we'll get that out shortly as well. I actually should be able to post the first one today from the last AMA, and then we'll get this one up very shortly for you guys. So it's just an update on the AMA/podcast type thing. Awesome. We covered quite a bit. I mean, before we close it out, does anyone have any more questions specifically regarding the loyalty program, the DApp, etc.? Now's your chance if you want to chime in.
I joined really late. Were there any announcements I missed?
Yeah, there was quite a few. Instead of going hashing, Drew, unless you want to take it, I saw you unmuted there.
I was just saying, definitely. We're going to post the recording, so you'll be able to listen again. But just to wrap it up, and we should summarize anyways. So we have all the plans for the DApp, which is something I'd say it's pretty revolutionary compared to other tokens, and just in general, like all the stuff that's in there and what we're able to track and how user friendly it is. And that's where the staking is. So that'll be released over the next couple days. We don't want to do it now, just in case there's any more kind of private sailors waiting for the next green candle to kind of exit. So, and this is a really long-term thing. So we'll release that within a few days. Tomorrow we're hosting a really big Twitter Spaces with a huge celebrity who we haven't announced yet who it is, but it's somebody who's very relevant right now, big into mental health, and that's at noon Eastern time tomorrow. So I'm going to schedule that, and we would love to get as many supporters and people listening in on that. I think it's going to be huge when people see this person in a Twitter space talking about crypto and mental health in crypto. Also, a lot of our advisors are going to be joining some really astute big name people. Those were the two major announcements. The other one was we fixed a bit of an LP issue where we had too much LP relative to the market cap. So we've been draining that slowly, and we're going to be using that for buybacks and big events that are really going to help us. And now our price impact is going to be a lot better. So when we get more 30, 40 ETH buys, it's just going to go crazy.
Huge. Thanks for the update, man. Appreciate it. I'll catch the recording.
Awesome. So yeah, that's I think we went over a lot today. We don't want to make these recordings too long so people actually, you know, are incentivized to listen to the whole way through. So yeah, that's kind of all we wanted to cover. You know, we have constant admins and mods in the chat. They're all very well learned and briefed on the project. So feel free to fire off questions to them throughout the day if you have any. And I just want to hammer home, like, make sure you're in the Twitter space at noon EST tomorrow. That's 9 a.m. PST, noon EST. It's going to be massive. It's another huge celebrity that's we're really happy to have an ambassador on the Dream project, and you guys are definitely not going to want to miss this. And we want to make it go as viral as possible. So as many people hopping in there, let's blow this space up and let's get some heavy volume into Dream tomorrow. We're super excited about it, and we think you guys are going to really like it. So yeah, thanks everyone for showing up. Really appreciate you. I think, all said, I think we had a really good day today. We knew we were going to expect a little bit of a dip. We got a little bit of a dip. We're rebounding very nicely. I'm very happy with where we're at, and just want to thank all of you guys who are consistently showing up for these AMAs. You're the core investors here, and we're going to make sure that you guys, above anything, are rewarded over the long term for growing with us.
Yeah, well said. Well, thanks everyone for the support, and I mean, this is just the start. Step one was kind of delivering the initial stuff, establishing ourselves, getting the private sale delivered successfully was a big milestone. Seeing that dump, recovering from it, and now we're really in a position, I think, to keep delivering and crush it. So thank you all for the support. We'll post this.